The arrival of Andy Ibanez adds an interesting layer to the conversation around the Dodgers roster, especially when you look beyond the surface and dig into his path through professional baseball. This is a player with an unusual background, one that starts outside the traditional American development system and gradually winds its way into the major leagues through persistence and adaptability. Long before he was even on the radar of big league clubs, he was competing at a high international level, representing Cuba on a major global stage and later establishing himself in the Cuban National Series before taking a decisive step to continue his career elsewhere. After leaving Cuba in the middle of the last decade, Ibanez entered affiliated baseball without much fanfare, signing a modest deal and beginning the long climb through the minor leagues. His journey was not defined by instant stardom or top prospect status, but by steady progression and the ability to handle different roles along the way. He moved through several levels, wearing multiple uniforms, and gradually earned the reputation of a player who could be trusted to show up prepared and contribute wherever he was needed. That climb eventually led him to the major leagues, where he carved out multiple seasons of experience with more than one organization. From an offensive standpoint, it is important to set expectations clearly. Ibanez has never been viewed as a middle-of-the-order force or a consistent run producer who changes games with one swing. Over his major league time, his overall production with the bat has settled below league average, and that context matters when evaluating what he brings to the Dodgers. His numbers show limited power and a profile built more on contact than impact, which means his value cannot be measured simply by home runs or highlight reel moments. Where things become more intriguing is when you break down his splits and look at how his bat plays against different types of pitching. Ibanez has consistently shown that he is far more comfortable facing left-handed pitchers than right-handed ones. Against lefties, his batting average and overall run creation jump noticeably, reaching levels that are clearly above league norms. Against right-handed pitching, however, his production drops off, reinforcing the idea that he is best deployed in specific matchups rather than as an everyday offensive solution. That detail immediately sparks comparisons within the Dodgers roster, especially when you think about other right-handed hitters who have historically thrived in similar situations. The Dodgers have long valued players who can punish left-handed pitching, and Ibanez fits that mold. Even in a relatively limited sample with Detroit, his overall offensive output compared favorably to some familiar names when adjusted for league context, which is notable considering the circumstances and the roles he was asked to fill. This does not automatically signal a dramatic shift in the team's plans or the departure of established contributors, but it does suggest a continuation of a pattern the Dodgers have used effectively in recent seasons. The organization has often brought in versatile veterans to handle regular season innings, protect against injuries, and provide matchup advantages, all while keeping the bigger picture in mind. Those players sometimes start the year in supporting roles, only to find themselves playing meaningful games later when it matters most. The comparison becomes even more compelling when you consider how similar players have been used in the past. The Dodgers have shown they are comfortable managing workloads creatively, mixing and matching based on health, performance, and opponent. A player like Ibanez can absorb starts during the grind of the regular season, allowing others to recover, reset, or ease back from physical issues, without forcing the team to compromise defensively or tactically. Defensively, Ibanez brings another element the Dodgers consistently prioritize: flexibility. While he spent most of his recent time at third base, his career tells a broader story. Second base has been his primary position over the years, but he has also logged meaningful time at first base and even made appearances in both corner outfield spots. That kind of versatility allows the coaching staff to cover multiple scenarios without burning through the bench, something that becomes invaluable over a long season filled with minor injuries and unexpected absences. He is not a true shortstop option, but his ability to handle first, second, and third base, along with occasional outfield duty, gives the Dodgers yet another multipurpose tool. It is the type of profile the organization has targeted repeatedly, favoring players who may not excel in one elite category, but can competently fill several roles at a moment's notice. When you squint a bit, It is easy to see why this skill set appeals to a front office that values roster elasticity as much as raw talent. Age and contract status also factor into the equation. Ibanez is entering his early 30s, a stage where teams generally know what a player is, rather than hoping for untapped upside. He reached a point in his career where arbitration eligibility and service time played a role in his availability, ultimately leading to his previous club moving on. For the Dodgers, this represents a calculated acquisition, one that fills a need without requiring a long-term commitment or a major financial gamble. Another critical detail is his lack of minor league options. Being out of options means the team must keep him on the active roster or risk losing him, which underscores the idea that he was brought in with a clear purpose in mind. This is not a stash for later or a developmental project, but a player expected to contribute immediately in some capacity. That reality often influences how early season roster decisions are made, especially when the team is juggling health concerns and workload management across the infield. The Dodgers' current roster construction makes this move easier to understand. Position player depth has been a talking point, particularly with certain players coming off surgery or managing lingering issues. Having someone like Ibanez available provides a form of insurance, ensuring the team is not forced into rush decisions or overexposing younger players before they are ready. It also gives the coaching staff the freedom to be cautious, something the organization has consistently prioritized. All of this points to Ibanez being less about headline impact and more about structural stability. His presence helps balance the roster, offers matchup advantages against left-handed pitching, and reinforces the Dodgers' preference for adaptable players who can slide into different roles without disrupting the overall flow of the team. As the season unfolds and responsibilities shift, his value will likely be measured not in star moments, but in how seamlessly he allows the Dodgers to navigate the inevitable challenges of a long major league schedule. When you zoom out and look at how this move fits into the broader philosophy of the Dodgers, it becomes clear that Andy Ibanez is less about replacing someone and more about preserving options. This front office has consistently shown that it wants as many viable paths as possible once the calendar flips from the regular season grind into games that truly matter. Ibanez represents another controllable variable, someone who can absorb pressure innings and starts without forcing the team to compromise its long-term vision. One of the most interesting layers to this situation is how it intersects with the role of familiar veterans who have meant a great deal to the Dodgers in recent years. History shows that the team is willing to be patient, especially with players who understand the environment, the expectations, and the intensity of October baseball. At the same time, patience does not mean inactivity. The Dodgers prefer to surround those players with depth that allows flexibility rather than desperation, and that is exactly where Ibanez fits into the equation. During the regular season, there is an undeniable value in having someone who can take starts against left-handed pitching, spell multiple infield positions, and keep the lineup balanced without overexposing anyone. Ibanez can be deployed strategically, picking up plate appearances in matchups that suit his strengths while staying out of situations that do not. That kind of usage keeps the roster fresh and helps the team avoid wearing down key contributors before the stretch run even begins. The comparison to past seasons is unavoidable. The Dodgers have previously used similar roster constructions, where certain players carried heavier regular season workloads while others operated more quietly, waiting for their moments. Over time, those roles can evolve. A player who begins the year as a depth option can end up playing a critical role when injuries, fatigue, or performance shifts reshape the roster. Ibanez gives the Dodgers another lever to pull when those moments arrive. Health is always a hidden factor in these decisions, even when it is not openly discussed. Players coming off surgery or dealing with off-season recovery timelines create uncertainty, especially early in the year. Rather than forcing those players back into everyday roles too quickly, the Dodgers can lean on depth pieces like Ibanez to bridge the gap. That approach aligns with an organizational mindset that prioritizes readiness later in the season over urgency in the first few months. There is also the matter of clubhouse dynamics, which often gets overlooked in pure statistical analysis. Ibanez arrives with major league experience, an understanding of what it means to adjust roles, and a career built on earning opportunities rather than expecting them. Players with that background tend to adapt well to teams with championship expectations, where individual roles can shift rapidly based on need rather than preference. Defensively, his presence allows the Dodgers to experiment without risk. Moving players around the diamond, resting legs, or covering short-term absences becomes far easier when there is a trusted option available who does not require constant defensive substitutions. Over the course of a long season, those small efficiencies add up, reducing strain on the roster and minimizing cascading effect from minor injuries. Another important angle is how Ibanez fits into the postseason picture, or perhaps more accurately, how he supports it indirectly. The Dodgers do not need him to be a postseason star. What they need is for him to help get the team to October in the best possible shape. If that means taking on regular season responsibility so others can ramp up gradually or recover fully, then his impact is felt even if he is not the one standing in the spotlight when the stakes are highest. That does not mean postseason contributions are off the table entirely. Baseball has a way of rewarding preparedness, and players who stay engaged and productive throughout the season often find themselves called upon when circumstances change. Ibanez's ability to handle pressure, accept defined roles, and execute against specific matchups gives the Dodgers confidence that he could be trusted if needed, even in high-leverage moments. Financially, the move reflects efficiency rather than ambition. The Dodgers did not commit significant resources or long-term obligations, which preserves flexibility for future decisions. That restraint is part of what allows the organization to remain aggressive elsewhere, confident that depth acquisitions like this one will support, rather than hinder, larger plans. Ultimately, the addition of Andy Ibanez reinforces a familiar theme with the Dodgers. This is a team that values readiness, adaptability, and depth as much as raw star power. Every roster spot serves a purpose, even if that purpose is not immediately obvious on opening day. Ibanez may not dominate headlines or generate constant buzz, but his presence quietly strengthens the foundation, giving the Dodgers more ways to navigate the season, respond to adversity, and keep their focus exactly where they want it as the year progresses. But before we move forward, don't forget to join our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep delivering the latest news about the Los Angeles Dodgers. We'd love to hear your thoughts on the news, so drop a comment below. Rumors are swirling around the Dodgers clubhouse as whispers of tension continue to grow following what insiders are calling a heated dispute between Shohei Ohtani and manager Dave Roberts. Sources close to the team suggest that Ohtani, widely regarded as one of baseball's most dynamic two-way players, was reportedly furious after Roberts allegedly imposed restrictions on his pitching workload. While the Dodgers have yet to issue a formal statement, multiple reports hint that the decision has caused friction among the players and staff, igniting conversations about leadership, player management, and the team's future direction. Ohtani, known for his competitive fire and relentless work ethic, is said to have expressed frustration privately, feeling that the limitations undermine both his rhythm on the mound and his overall contribution to the team. Teammates, speaking on condition of anonymity, describe an unusual tension in the locker room, noting that Ohtani's energy has been noticeably different since the decision was made. Some insiders speculate that the situation could escalate if not carefully managed, suggesting that even minor disagreements in high-pressure environments can ripple into larger team dynamics. For his part, Roberts has remained publicly measured, emphasizing player health and long-term strategy, but the behind-the-scenes mood tells a more complicated story. Analysts have pointed out that managing a superstar like Ohtani is a delicate balancing act, where any perceived limitation can be interpreted as a lack of trust or confidence. With the Dodgers vying for a competitive edge, the timing of this clash could not be more sensitive, as every decision is scrutinized by media, fans, and league observers. Whether this tension will affect on-field performance remains a topic of debate. Some insiders suggest that the frustration might actually fuel Ohtani's intensity in upcoming games, while others warn that unresolved disputes in the clubhouse can become distractions. Dodgers fans and sports commentators alike are watching closely, with speculation mounting over whether a compromise can be reached or if the rift will linger throughout the season. One thing appears certain. The OHTANI-Roberts dynamic has become one of the most talked-about storylines in baseball, and every new report only seems to add layers to the mystery. As the Dodgers navigate this delicate situation, questions abound. How will the team balance player health with competitive ambition? Will OHTANI accept the constraints, or will the fiery star push back further? In a sport where momentum is everything, even a hint of discord can make waves, and the Dodgers' handling of this rumor crisis could define not just the season, but the narrative around the team for months to come. That's all for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay up to date with exclusive news about the Los Angeles Dodgers, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that like button. We always appreciate your comments and feedback. See you in the next video.